All right. So I went and watched this video. Borderlands 4, they look new Borderlands 4 character drama. I really hope Borderlands 4 is good. I've been thinking about going back and playing Borderlands 3. I do not like that story at all. It was terrible. The gameplay wasn't too bad. I hope they innovate on a lot of stuff, but let's see what the drama is.
The new Borderlands 4 Vault Hunters look boring. At least that's what a lot of people are saying online. For the most part, reception
Looks
to
cool.
Borderlands 4's first official look has been fairly positive and optimistic across the board, but there's one massive blemish that seems to be a common sentiment shared by many, and that's that the Vault Hunters look boring. Specifically how their design is a bit plain. So I wanted to make a video talking about it, give my opinion on things, because on one hand, I don't disagree with the sentiment of how they look, but on the other, I think it's more that the trailer is what really failed them. So I wanted to take a critical lens to
I like her look.
just outright hating.
Her jacket looks pretty cool, especially from the back.
So let's talk about Vault Hunters designs first. First off, let's not pretend like the Vault Hunters have had a perfect track record in terms of their designs.
No,
Roland
yeah.
and Brick in the first game are pretty bland looking characters, all things considered. But in Borderlands 2, Axton is the king of generic looking guys. You couldn't have made a more default looking character if you tried. And realistically, Salvador isn't popping off of the screen either. He's literally just in a t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah.
If you had no information on them as you do now, would you really have been able to say he's peak character design? Borderlands 3 I think is pretty great across the board, but that didn't stop people at the time from criticizing Mose for looking like a generic soldier type character. I don't bring up the pre-sequel because that was made after 2 and all of the Vault Hunters were pre-existing, having gone through a redesign, and they're all great. Aurelia was the only new one, but her design is great as well. Point is, it's never been a flawless track record when it comes to Vault Hunters designs. They've got some very iconic ones, but some plain ones as well. So what makes the
Yeah, a lot of the Vault Hunters, like the 1, 2. I mean, I would even say the pre-sequels, like their character designs weren't like, wow, they look very generic. And these, they look pretty much the same, to be honest. Now, I like her look. I don't know why. Liz is cool. I like the jacket and stuff, especially from behind. He looks very generic. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he looks kind of cool. I like the robotic arm. She looks very generic with big pants. Like, this looks kind of stupid, but looks like Borderlands. Yeah. I guarantee you there probably gonna be some microtransactions to have cooler costumes. Watch. Don't think they are. Watch. Just watch. But I think in our time, this day and age, I mean, I don't know what people want. I mean, cause she doesn't look bad. She looks kind of sexy. No, no. Mm, I guess people just want them to have more pop to them. Look, have way more character to them, which I can agree with. That'd be awesome, but you know, these aren't the only characters that look very bland in the Borderlands series. Most of them do.
first shot of our new Vault Hunters look plain? Firstly, I think one of the biggest problems and most obvious that everyone knows is their clothing. It's all a bit too casual. The biggest offender is the guy on the far left who's just in a jacket and some cargo pants and sneakers. We see him later in the trailer doing some assassin type shit and he's got all this tech on him and blades and whatnot, but His design doesn't inherently translate to that ability. It's also relaxed. It's almost entirely reminiscent of Octavio from New Tales from the Borderlands. He's got the same type of jacket and t-shirt combo. But ironically, Octavio's design in comparison is more fitting because he was just a guy living day to day. He doesn't do anything special, so the casual streetwear was more fitting for someone like him. Granted, he did also go on to open a vault, technically also making him a vault hunter, but that's a different problem entirely. But for a new main character, he isn't jumping off the screen with how casual he's dressing, and it is casual. It's not unique. This cyberpunk-esque attire is literally what everyone wears. It's kind of become the default fashion look.
You call that cyberpunk? Like that, to me, I don't know about you. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the characters. But to me, he says cyberpunk. I look at him and I don't think cyberpunk. Or I guess kind of her. Kind of. Him. Not really either. Her. Not really either. Like, the only one I could say kind of. Okay, hear me out. Kind of. Is her. Definitely not him. I don't know. His robot arm looks, I don't know. Like, no.
Literally what everyone wears. It's kind of become the default fashion look for the more urban, civilized cities within the universe. And while the guy on the far left is the biggest offender, the woman on the far right is rocking a normal tank top and what look like work pants. Yeah, she's got a bit of armor on, she's got gloves and all this tubing and stuff, but it's on top of a very normal base layer of attire. Some people have been speculating that she may be ex-Maliwan, and she looks like she could have simply taken off parts of her suit, leaving her with this half-dressed...
That looks cool. I admit, this looks cool. Something like this is... Something like this, I think what people want. This looks cool.
Armored and teched out look. But even if that's true, at the same time, the color palette she's rocking is very muted. The Siren and the big guy, I think, look fine and aren't dressed too casually themselves, but the Siren's trench coat is also kinda common clothing. Anu in New Tales wore a fancier trench coat as well, and she's just a scientist.
I don't have a problem with the trench coat. It looks cool.
Three of these four characters wearing very normal clothes. And it's not even necessarily about the casualness of the clothes they're wearing, but it looks like all of them came from the same area, if they all lived in the same city and just went to slightly different stores for clothes, as opposed to how big the world is, potentially dressing like they're from a Western, or they're from a very high-tech part of the world, or a very medieval part of the world where technology isn't advanced. They all look almost as if they came from a very similar area. And to add on to their aesthetic, their hair. They're all brunette. They all have brown hair, and that doesn't help them stand out in conjunction with their casual attire. It's been alluded to that Borderlands 4 is dialing it back a bit with the humor and taking itself a tad more seriously, and I think that does come across in the trailer, but I don't know if that wound up reflecting on the characters themselves. I don't see how that would be the case, but the color...
I mean, I don't care if they're toning back on the humor and stuff, like... Borderlands 3, it just had bad humor. That's what it was. It's bad. You don't have to dial it back. And, you know, I mean, you can still make your characters look cool or different or whatever. Like, I don't know if they're correlating the humor with the characters and, like, trying to, you know, put them together, because you don't have to. You know, you don't even have to dial back the humor. Just do good humor, you know? Everything in Borderlands 3 was terrible. It wasn't funny, you know? And the two little streamers or whatever, it wasn't cool. It wasn't funny. It's just maybe write better humor and funny stuff. All right? And make your characters stand out. Okay, it's okay. It's okay, Gearbox. Make your character stand out.
Colors aren't poppin', and their attire is way more casual than it should be. And I wish I could say it's not that bad, and I feel like they're all going to be way more interesting than they look, but it is quite rare for the designs to be so underwhelming, because even the bad games have great character designs. Since I've been talking about it, while the main cast of New Tales isn't great, someone like Diamond Danielle feels like she could have taken on that assassin role. Her outfit is sleek, she looks great and unique. She literally doesn't do anything in the game and is just a waste of a character, but her design stands out infinitely more.
She does look cool.
And Stapleface had a great design in that game as well. Many people never played the DLCs for Borderlands 3, but Butcher Rose had such an amazing design, people wanted her to become a Vault Hunter. So it's not as if, oh, Borderlands designs used to be so good back in the Borderlands 2 days. They've continued, even in their bad entries, to still produce great character designs. So it makes you wonder what happened here. It's unfortunate that these aren't on par with what we've come to know them for, but at the same time, it's not even so much of a shock because the NPCs have always had the best designs of the franchise. Moxie, Tina, Torg. Hell, even this trailer teased one that looks phenomenal. You're gonna tell me she doesn't look like a great fucking character? So while the cope in me wants to say that they're not bad and they'll be more interesting the more we learn about them, which I'm sure will be the case, it sucks that their first impression feels this lackluster. And in part, that's on the trailer itself because it really set them up to fail. As far as Borderlands trailers go, this one was very par for the course. It's very much like what they almost always do for a first trailer. A lot of establishing shots, a first look at the new Vault Hunters, and a montage of random enemies and loot. But what really went on to work against these characters was just how little was presented about them. And we haven't had this little information about the Vault Hunters in the first trailer since Borderlands 1. That first trailer only kind of revealed Lilith's power while not showcasing any of the others. Borderlands 3 wasn't full on, but there were at least quick shots of what everyone brought to the table. And in true Borderlands 2 fashion, they revealed the characters in arguably the best way they should. The names, the abilities, the action shots of them, I don't feel like I have to explain how that reveal is so much better, but you can see how the Borderlands 4 trailer really failed these Vault Hunters because excluding the very first entry, this is the least amount of information we've ever been given on a main cast. Only Borderlands 2 revealed the Vault Hunters' names in the first trailer, so these characters' design problem is only exacerbated by the lack of information available, and it easily could have been offset. By no means do I think this trailer was bad or actively works against or dissuades people from checking it out, but it wasn't as gripping as it needed to be, and I do think it needed to be better than what we got. Like it or not, Borderlands' favor has diminished from what it once was, and the trailer needed to earn it back. Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 were such successes that they only built on one another. And after Borderlands 2 became a beloved classic, everything was in their favor to see the next entry. Everything else in between was just a bonus that continued to grow in their favor. Tales from the Borderlands came out and delivered a phenomenal storytelling experience within the larger universe. And despite the pre-sequel's great cast that everyone loves, it came out to very indifferent responses. Many kind of just waving it off as more Borderlands 2, but not as good. But despite it, it had all of the favor going into Borderlands 3, and it was hype. But after Borderlands 3 came out, the favor began to diminish as the story and the villains and humor were not the best. I
hate those two.
Many didn't enjoy the annoying streamer personas of Troy and Tyreen you have to deal with the entire story. Obviously, characters like Ava were not handled well, so many casual Borderlands players didn't end their experience wanting more and thought the franchise may have run its course. And since then, the games have been struggling to generate that same hype again. opinion. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was by no means a bad game with a bad story, but it just failed to grab people past 1 or 2 playthroughs. It falls into a similar category to the pre-sequel, where it's just there for a lot
haven't
of
beat
players.
it. I might
All
try
of
to
the
play it
other
again.
attempts have really not done favors for the brand. New Tales from the Borderlands was abysmal. The story, the characters, just everything it presented was not good, plain and simple. I've already made a video on it, feel free to check that out, but it was so bad and nobody played it anyway. It didn't even manage to garner an audience. But then there was this year with the Borderlands movie, which by all metrics was a flop. So that's
this thing right here. This shot right here says it all. This shot right here. Like, bro. I just wish this. I'm just gonna pretend this never existed.
The most recent product that's in the public psyche regarding Borderlands. So for their first official look for their new entry of the franchise, they should have come out of the gate swinging to go above and beyond to over-deliver a trailer that would really leave no room for error. But they didn't. And with the reception of 3 and the recent failure of the movie, they should have just given us the Vault Hunters first and foremost, as that is one of the main draws. The opening cinematic with the Rippers and the Order is great. I have no complaints with that whatsoever. It's a great way of showcasing
so cool
the
looking
recognizable psychos and something new and bigger going on in the universe and giving us a teaser for the story. But the other half should have been something along the lines of the game's intros, because those always hit. They're enjoyable, they're unique, the music's good, they show off the characters, their abilities, who they are in an overall fun scene, and there's never been a bad one. I get that they probably didn't want to reveal that much about the characters and whatnot just yet, but the Game Awards was such a big and diverse stage. So many gamers who have never played Borderlands or are simply casuals are all watching, and what better opportunity than that to have as many diverse eyes on it as possible to lure them in. But it just didn't recognize the position it's in and did what they always do when it needed to do more. The characters are just such an important part of the game that just having them walk really did a disservice and only gives people a reason to not be interested. I'm certain the more we learn about them and what they do, they will become infinitely more interesting. But hey, those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you think this trailer failed the Vault Hunters? Do you think that even if we do learn more about the Vault Hunters, they are still going to be as generic as they look? Or do you think they all look good? Any and all thoughts, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more Borderlands 4 content in the future, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, pretty good video. Good video. I'm gonna give him a like. I'm gonna. So I've watched one of his videos before already. Okay, I did not know that. I wonder what other videos I watched. But subscribe to him. I'm gonna link this in the chat for Twitch. Here you go. Yeah, pretty good video. Look, I think a lot of people, especially like I'm old. I was there for Borderlands 1. I mean, before it even came out. Like, I remember seeing in magazines and stuff. It was the first looter shooter. And no, I think some people have rose tinted glasses or hasn't played the old Borderlands like 1 and 2 and probably even the pre-sequel. Those characters were pretty fucking bland, okay? Generic, just they're bad designs. And like he was talking about, like a lot of the good designs went to the side characters actually. Like just think about like who's it, Moxie, uh you can even say like Tiny Tina, she had a good design. Like uh Handsome Jack, plenty more. Like all like a lot of the side characters look pretty cool. So like I think the times have changed. Like we want to see characters with more, you know, character. You know, more like make them pop. Like he's talking about like how they all are brunettes, and I didn't even notice that at first. Yeah, they're all brunettes. Like it's no like blue haired, blonde, or redhead character. None of that. They're all just brunettes. Besides, what's the name with the one streak in her hair? It's like one highlight. It's like okay, whatever. But man, I'm like excited for this game, but like kind of hesitant on this game because I don't know, man. With like all these other looter shooters coming out or out, and especially like with Destiny, I'm a big Destiny 2 player. Man, the gameplay really has to hit. And the story does too. Like one thing people love about Borderlands, and what I like about Borderlands was the story. 1 and 2 was pretty good. Pre-sequel story was pretty good. You know, going back and see how Handsome Jack and all that. That was pretty cool. I didn't play none of the Tales of Borderlands, any of that. But the story was pretty good. Then it came out with 3, which was terrible. Like I keep saying, terrible. So, I mean, they have a lot of things that they need to work on. It needs to be good. You know, gameplay, you know, the guns, uh, story, characters. They have to really nail, I would say, all of it, or at least most of it, you know. I would say the two things, okay, who people aren't really going to care how the characters look because you know, it's going to be about the story and about the gameplay, you know. Then we all know it's going to have like cosmetics for the characters, even if you unlock them in game or if you have to buy them. They're going to be cosmetics, so you can make a character look different. And I'm pretty sure in the old ones, you can change like the colors of them and hair and stuff. So we'll see. But give him a like, you know, his link to his video will be down in the description. To his channel will be down in the description. Give me a like, subscribe to me, ring that bell for more videos, and I'm gonna give you more videos right here you can watch if you want to. I'm not forcing you to do anything. But with that said, have a good night. Take it easy. Don't do anything crazy. Peace.